Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm joined today by a legend of the lower leagues in Scotland as we preview the Championship kicking off this weekend. And I don't want to put you too much pressure already, Ali Graham, but last year we did this, you were pretty much spot on, so I'm looking for some pretty good predictions again this year.
Blair, I just think it's going to be absolutely difficult this year to predict. I mean, I'm not one to sit on the fence or anything, but there's no real big side there that's come down that you can maybe hang your hat on. It's a muchness between them all. And wow, I'm just thoroughly looking forward to it. I think every single team on their day can beat each of the teams in that league, so it's going to be some season.
As you touched on there's no real big hitter in the division last year. And I remember this time last year you called Dundee United were going to run away with it. That doesn't seem to be the case this year.
Definitely not. Livingston coming down. I think in that Livingston side this season, I think David Martindale's got more difficulty because he has to find a way to beat teams instead of maybe sitting in and hitting teams in the break in the top league. I do believe he's going to play with width this season. I think they still have the advantage of playing at home where, let's be honest, a lot of teams don't like going and playing there. So I believe that they'll do pretty well this season. But it's just I'm finding that instead of defending and hitting teams in the break, as I said, they're going to have to take the game to teams. And if they can find that consistency, I think they'll be pretty decent.
There was a wee bit of chat in the summer about would David Martindale go, would he stay after relegation? He's obviously in for the long term now. How big do you think it is to have that stability for Livingston as the team coming down?
Done a few games with PLZ over there. Always good to talk to. I like David Martindale. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think it's a big turnover. They've lost a lot of decent players. I know he brought in Andrew Shinnie back in again. Good experience that they've got in there. I think he realised that he needed that. But I've heard through a couple of people that he's really looking to try and attack this league and play with width. Very important for the club. Can they bounce back? Well, you asked me that question probably later, Blair. But I think home advantage gives them a chance, and I'm looking for them to be up there near the end of the season.
Moving on to a team very close to your heart, Raith Rovers. Obviously had such a good season last year, came also close to getting back up to that top division. What do you see for them this year? And is there a new pressure on Ian Murray given just how well he did last year?
Yeah, absolutely. Very unlucky last season. Had a good campaign. Maybe lost it a wee bit leading up to the playoffs. Started very well, but in this league, I'm going against the grain here because I think a little bit. I usually say to you need to start well, but it was proven last year that if you just hang on in there and you come with a late run, Morton done that. I think it's going to be very, very tight for all the teams, and it's just hanging on in there. Raith now have signed a bit of experience. They've got the two Hibs legends in at the back. I still think they have the flair. But watching them a few times last season, I thought they didn't have a way, a kind of outball. Jack Hamilton, I suppose, is the big guy up front to do that and try and mix it up a little bit. They kind of ran out of ideas for me, and I think they need to find a bit more consistency there this season. There will be pressure on them because a lot of people will believe that they're going to be up there, me included. But I think they can handle it, and Ian Murray, I think he's a great manager, and I fully expect Raith to be challenging again.
Partick Thistle were there or thereabouts as well last season. They managed to get to the playoffs again, ultimately just losing out. Could this maybe be one last chance for Brian Graham maybe to lead this team and bring them back up to the Premiership? They've made some good acquisitions in the summer. Kyle Turner coming back. What do you see for them this year?
I see the same again. I think if you were to add Brian Graham, and you mentioned him there, if you were to add him in any team, any of the top three teams in that league, Raith, Livy, you've got a chance of winning that league. I think that's how good he is. He's really improved with age. He's found a club that he loves. The fans love him. He bangs in 20-odd goals a season, leads from the front. A lot of teams in this league haven't got that. He'll be hurting still from that chance he missed against Raith, and I think they would have maybe pushed Ross County a bit closer than Raith did, but it's a big season for him, and I'm expecting them again. I mean, you're probably going to come to me. I'm expecting every team to do well, but you've mentioned the top runners for me, and I fully believe that they're solid at the back. They've still got guile in their team, and of course, with a centre forward like him, then you've got every chance of winning games week on week.
One of maybe the more unknown quantities in the league are Falkirk, obviously having that incredible season in League One last year. John McGlynn seems to really have steadied the ship and got them all firing in all cylinders. Do you think they can come up and really make a dent in this division this year?
I think John's a top manager. I think he's actually come out in the last week or two and said that they've not made many signings, that he's happy to go with what he's got. But one thing for sure, when you go there, there'll be 4,500, 5,000 Falkirk fans right behind the team. Very difficult place to go and get anything. I think, I do believe that they'll do well. Can they make the top four? They really need a good start. But with that fan base behind them, I can see them. He's a wily old fox, John, and he's playing his cards close to his chest at the minute. But I think they'll have a decent season and a great acquisition to the league.
One of the transfers that really caught my eye in the summer was George Oakley making the move to Ayr United, obviously under the stewardship of Scott Brown. That seems like an interesting project they've got down there at Somerset Park.
Yeah, there's a feel-good factor down there, Blair, at the minute. The new stand coming up, it was one of the old rickety stadiums, wasn't it? Promised this stadium for years and years and years. But they've added on to that side across from the main stand and built in a fantastic stand there. It makes it a pretty decent stadium. A decent atmosphere down there as well. Fans have been waiting for years and years for something to shout about down there. I was down there in the early 90s and, they turned up and expected. They were always expecting. It's never really happened. Had a wee bit of success through Gordon Dale and the cup runs. But Scott Brown, Stephen Whittaker, winners, especially Scott Brown. And he's built a side there. Strength, height, powerful team. And the fans expect this season, and I think they could be the surprise package for me, Blair. I really do. A tremendous playing surface down there as well. Although a lot of teams like going down there and playing on that surface, so is it an advantage or a disadvantage? But I just think that if they can get the fans behind them, and Scott Brown can galvanise that side, as he's done. There's a lot of expectation down there this season, and I can see them doing well. Oakley, they've got Anton Dowd's threats up front, and they're solid at the back as well. So a big, strong, physical team, and I think you need that at times in this league.
One of the most highly rated young managers coming out of the Championship is, of course, Rhys McCabe. He won a lot of plaudits last season for his attacking brand of football with Airdrieonians. Do you think he will continue in that same trajectory and stay at Airdrieonians for the remainder of this campaign?
I think if he's off to a good start, then it's going to be difficult because he's done magnificent. I mean, and I know I don't like judging teams on the cup runs before the league campaign start, but if you were to judge it on Airdrie's, then fantastic. Done really well against Aberdeen. Absolutely gubbed East Kilbride, 7 or 8-0. Scoring goals. A guy over for Ireland, Ben Wilson, scoring for fun. My only concern with Airdrie is sometimes you need a bit of physicality in this league. I'm not saying that wins you games all the time, but just to dig in, and I don't really see that with them. Do they play fantastic football, free-flowing? Absolutely. I think they've been a breath of fresh air so far, what I've seen. A difficult opener against one of the teams we mentioned earlier there, Blair, so that's going to be, you can maybe gauge it maybe after 2 or 3 games where they're going to be, but, for me, going to watch them playing football, I think it's decent. And I think the manager who's playing at the back a bit now, I think he's sitting to see the whole picture himself. I think it's a good decision for him. Is he going to keep playing? Will he see things for the side? I think there's a few teams maybe get an eye on him as well. I think he can do really well. Don't forget Ian Murray kind of started there as well in his earlier on in his career. So I'm expecting them to. Can it be? I think it might be a little bit more difficult because of how successful they were last year. The second season's always a wee bit more difficult. Teams might suss them out a wee bit now, but if they're going to keep playing football like that at home, I think they'll get more points than lose. But sometimes I just think you need to dig in, and I can't really see where the physicality is in the team.
I remember sitting at this time last year discussing Queen's Park, and I remember you weren't entirely convinced about the project that was going on there. That almost came to pass. Callum Davidson obviously came in halfway through the season. What do you see for them this season? Are they going to be in trouble this year? Are they going to be middle of the pack? What will Callum Davidson do with that Queen's Park side?
I think Queen's Park will be okay this season. I think they've added a bit of pace and some decent signings. Zach Rudden's come down, and again, I think they'll be pretty solid. I think Callum's had a look at them. He knows where they want to be, and sometimes you think the fans' expectations, they've got this money, they're at Hampden Park, and where should they be? Should they be pushing promotion? I think there'll be a solid team in that league this season, Blair. I really do. Cammy Kerr's came as well, a bit of experience. I still think they're finding their feet, but there'll not be any pushovers. I don't think, I'm not going to say they'll be comfortable, but I think they're a championship side now, and I think they can consolidate that.
And the best of the rest, just to lump them in together, Hamilton, Morton and Dunfermline. Am I being unfair in saying that these might be the three teams battling out at the wrong end of the division this year?
No, I don't think you are. I think that, speaking to a few people, I think that's the kind of names that prop up. We've also had the case of maybe the Hamilton players hearing not getting paid or whatever. That's no good for the start of the season. I had a great time down at Hamilton. It's just down the hill for me. I love going to watch them. Good wee club. And I think they've done really well keeping John Rankin in there, because he came with a right good run and he got them promoted. As for the others, Dunfermline, I think they're going to find it difficult. Not enough signings for me, or David Witherspoon's in. And Morton, Dougie Emery, can he keep battling the way he's battling and keep the team, in that league? I think they need to find. I know there's been a huge turnaround for them as well. J. Emmanuel Thomas has come in. Can he find consistency as a goal scorer? But he needs to be more consistent for me. So I think you're right when you say they three could be the teams that toil a little bit. Although this season, I can't see anyone being detached. I think it'll be really close, maybe one of the closest finishes ever in this league. I think it's a magnificent league, and I just can't wait till it starts, because there's going to be a few results there that are going to surprise us, and there's going to be some teams that maybe struggle or maybe not, that's going to surprise us as well. So it's going to be a right good season.
And Ali, this is your favourite part of the year in the preview. I need your winner, the team that's going to go down, and give us your dark horses for this season.
Wow, that is unbelievable. I mean, Raith, Partick, Livy. Wow, honestly. I'm going to go for Livingston. I think home advantage. I think David Martindale's going to come out and show us how good a manager he is this season. This is a huge call, because I've got two of my old teams, Raith and Partick, in there. I think we'll be there as well. But one of my other old teams, Blair, I've got 6 out of the 10 in there. Ayr United are going to be my dark horses. I think they can make the playoffs under Scott Brown. I'm looking forward to going down and watching a couple of games this season. And I hope the fans turn out and get right behind the team. The team that I think might struggle this year is Dunfermline, out of that 3 that you mentioned. I think they could struggle and could maybe be the team that are sitting at the bottom of the table. But as usual, come back and see me halfway through the season, and I've probably predicted every single one wrong, but that's going to be my call this season.
Ali, thanks very much for joining us on PLZ Soccer, and hopefully catch up with you throughout the season to keep up to date with how the Championship is going.